Pro-Life Radio is a pre-recorded program paid for by Pro-Life Radio.
Preserving the sanctity of life in Florida. A loud voice for the unborn. This is Pro-Life Radio with your hosts, Vicki and Bruce Cherry.
And welcome to another edition of Pro-Life Radio on a Sunday night. My lovely wife, Vicki Cherry.
Hello.
And we are blessed with a stellar list of guests tonight. We have our good friend and just a strong warrior for the unborn here in Central Florida. Michelle Herzog is on with us again this week, just for a little bit. Michelle, welcome. She's from Pro-Life Action Ministries. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on again.
Thank you for being on again. And we have our good friend, Father Frank Pavone from Priest for Life. How are you, sir?
Good evening. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on again.
Well, thank you for being here with us, and thank you both for what you do. Of course, we start off all the time with Jeremiah 1:5 and prayer.
Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations.
Heavenly Father, we come to you once again to ask for your blessing upon this show, upon our guests, and upon all who hear this show, that we change hearts and change minds, that we save the unborn, that if there's someone out there tonight that is struggling with the thought of having an abortion, that we provide truth and that we help them make the right decision to spare the life of that child, because not one of us has the right to kill, to destroy, to disqualify a life that God has ordained to be. And God, we ask you to please work on their hearts and just be with them and be with us all. Guide us, bless us with discernment so that we know truth, not fiction, that we know that it is a baby. And God, let that truth be shared throughout the land. And God, we ask you this in the name of your precious Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 So, okay, Michelle was on with us last week, but she knew that we had Father Frank Pavone on, and she's like, I've got to spend some time. So we thank you, Michelle, for being here. So, Michelle, really quickly, ladies first, I'm going to let you go first. What do you have going on with Pro-Life Action Ministries?
Well, we just got through having our annual life banquet. I know you all were there, so we're really thankful. It was a great banquet. We were so thankful to have Troy Newman as our guest speaker, and I really believe he was able to really reach the hearts of many people that have not heard a story like Troy had to share. And it was just a really, really good banquet. I love the students from Victorious Living Fellowship. They are just stellar and so full of passion with their poetic version of Nancy Randolph, who is their teacher there at Victorious Living Fellowship. She wrote that whole poem that they acted out, and it was just fantastic. And then, of course, we're on the streets, daily in front of the abortion centers. And actually, just yesterday, I took a young lady out to lunch who chose life a couple months ago, and so we're working with her. We'll probably end up having a baby shower for her, just finding out what her needs are. And we've got a number of other babies that we'll be meeting with and having lunch with. God's been very, very good to us. We've been able to reach a lot of women. A lot of babies have been saved in the last couple of months, so it's fantastic. It's really fantastic.
Didn't we hear, too, something that just is horrible, that somebody threatened to kill you the other day?
Oh, yeah, that was just last week. It was one of those times where we definitely needed to call the police, and he definitely threatened to kill us. And, of course, it's not the first time that's happened, but he was actually really violent, to the point where the officers actually went inside the mill to find out, who this guy was. And the director of the abortion mill actually said, "We don't want him on our property," so he was banned from their property as well. So that's how violent he was.
It's truly a battle of good versus evil. It's a battle for the soul of this country, and people like that prove that fact every day.
I know Father Frank has seen all that same
that madness.
Corruption,
Yeah.
evil.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, he sure has.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Father Frank, thank you for being here with us. What is going on with Priests for Life right now?
Well, first of all, it's great to be on with Michelle. You know, your lineup of guests today proves something with what Michelle just said, that she likes to hang out with the worst troublemakers in the pro-life movement. Troy Newman is a really good friend and partner of ours as well. And, of course, we're all friends with Brian Gibson, who heads up Pro-Life Action Ministries up there in the Twin Cities. We all go back a very long time. And you know, like you were just referencing, you know, we've all been really, you know, on the front lines of the battle, taking the worst heat from the other side. But the Lord gives us marvelous comrades, like the Psalm says, and that's one of the joys of this movement. You know, and likewise, you know, Bruce and Vicki, knowing you guys too. It's wonderful how God brings us all together, gives us the same spirit, gives us all our unique gifts, but we make trouble in the best sense of the word for the unborn.
Absolutely.
We're doing that. You know, I wanted to, first of all, the National Right to Life convention is coming up, and you know, another you know, great ally in this movement, partners. The National Right to Life Committee has been around for a long time. This is their 55th annual conference coming up. It's going to be in Arlington, Virginia, but people will be coming there from throughout the nation. It'll be June the 12th and the 13th. People can look for more information at nrlconvention.com, NRL Convention. And it's I'll be there. It's a beautiful event because you've got some of the really, I mean, it's a kind of convention where you want to put on your thinking cap. And, you know, it's kind of like getting, you know, pro-life, really in-depth education because the speakers are, you know, they're really top experts, whether it's their research division, Dr. Randy O'Bannon, or their top lobbyists. You know, this is a group that, you know, and, you know, Michelle and I'll be, you know, and Brian, you know, we'll be out there on the, you know, on the sidewalks and sidewalk counseling and so forth. And you know, Troy will be exposing the inside workings of the abortion industry. And these folks at National, in the meanwhile, are really highly respected in the halls of Congress. They'll be lobbying for pro-life bills. They'll be electing pro-life candidates. And, you know, so all of us in the movement have our own area of specialty. But, you know, I'll be going to that. And I want to encourage people to check that out, nrlconvention.com.
Okay. Yeah, looking at the website right now, it's the 55th annual National Right to Life Conference. And just, well, I just want to point out, 55 years.
It's a long time.
That's a long time. And it's, you know, it's, I wish we didn't have to have it.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a weird thing to say, but I really wish we didn't have to have a right to life. I mean, it seems like such an obvious thing, you know, that we're all supposed to have the right to live, but there are those who would deprive the
Especially
unborn.
in a country that is founded on God and his principles.
Yeah. God and his principles, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Yeah. So Father Frank, I know you travel a lot. Where have you been recently? What have you been up to?
Oh, I was excited to tell you also, one of my recent experiences was on the National Mall on Sunday, May 17th. And I'm sure that many of our listeners have seen the coverage, maybe some were there too, for the national rededication of America to God. This is part, of course, of the 250th birthday celebration, which has been going on all year and will continue, in fact, beyond July 4th. It's a full year celebration. But this was one of the key moments, and we can't overemphasize the significance of this because it was a unique event. It was the first time. We know that our founders dedicated this country to God. They invoked God in the Declaration of Independence, which is the document whose adoption marks the 250 years. But this was the first time that the American people, at the behest of the president, formally rededicated the country to God. And you got to believe that a lot of graces are going to come from that. There were many speakers, people praying. Alveda King represented our ministry and gave a beautiful prayer from the stage. She mentioned the unborn, of course. Pastor Sammy Rodriguez started the day off. He mentioned the unborn. And so pro-life was a theme for us, woven throughout the day, because the Declaration asserts the right to life. But we had, at the end of the afternoon, this was, to me, one of the most clear moments of the significance of this event, because the man who occupies the third highest position in our government, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, was there in person.
Yep.
And he read the prayer of rededication, a beautiful prayer, really invoking the history of the country, invoking our repentance before God, our dependence upon God. He offered that prayer, and boy, was it powerful, and it brought together all the sentiments of and convictions of the singing and the praying and the preaching that took place all day long there on the National Mall. What a beautiful moment. And it's a beautiful moment for the pro-life movement, because we know if the more the nation is dedicated under God, the less we're going to claim to be gods ourselves, deciding if the unborn live or die.
Right. We did watch that at our Bible study.
Yeah.
It was powerful.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it is time to take our first break.
It goes by so fast.
It does go by so fast.
We'll be right back. We've got Father Frank Pavone with us from Priests for Life. We've got Michelle Herzog, who's going to be taking off, but we thank her for joining us tonight, and from Pro-Life Action Ministries of Central Florida. And coming up, we're going to talk about the Stand with Women petition. Will you sign it? We'll be right back with that. More Pro-Life Radio on AM 950, FM 94.9, The Answer.
If you're pro-life, like this show, and want to support this mission, please help with your donation today. Go online to givesendgo.com/Orlando Pro-Life Radio, or make your check out to Mission Save America, Inc., and mail it to 13900, County Road 455, Unit 107-334, Claremont, Florida 34711. Pro-Life Radio is a non-profit entity, and all donations are tax-deductible. Thank you.
And welcome back to Pro-Life Radio on a Sunday evening. I'm Vicki Cherry. Across from me is my handsome husband, Bruce. Ooh. And that's just as funny.
You don't like it when I do that, do you? Hello. There you go.
There's that
There you go.
nice radio voice. On the line with us, we have Father Frank Pavone from Priests for Life. And we love having Father Frank on. He is such a wealth of knowledge, and he's funny.
He is. He's all those things. Father Frank, I love you dearly. I just now know not to let him pick the restaurant we go to have dinner in. So.
I heard you guys ate at a pretty.
Yeah, we had a bit of an experience.
It was a bit of an experience. It was because they were out of everything that we wanted to order on the menu. It was,
and as I recall, we had a little bit of trouble finding it too.
Yes, and then we had trouble finding our way back to the hotel. But that's
finding our way back.
Yeah, but that's neither here nor
there. These things ought to be easier.
Yeah,
we'll have to get him a compass.
But hey, I was with him, and it was like I think we went this way. No, did we go this? And finally, two people who had mercy on us said, "Where are you guys trying to get to?" And we told him. He said, "Okay, you go through here, you turn left, go down the street. It's across the street. There you go." And it was, and
they could tell we were lost.
Yeah. So they were very nice.
Told you to go left instead of right. We watched a movie. They should have listened to their guides last night.
We did. Hey, so as I talked about before we went to break, National Right to Life is asking people to sign this petition. And the petition is the Abortion Pill Provider Liability and Education Act. They call it the APPLE Act. It empowers women to hold abortion pill manufacturers, distributors, prescribers, and facilitators legally accountable for death, trauma, or injuries caused by these dangerous drugs. It also ensures that women are fully informed before taking abortion pills of their right to seek justice if they are harmed. And so National Right to Life is pushing this. I would support this. The only thing I would change on it is that it shouldn't just be limited to women, because for too long we've thought that abortion is only a woman's purview. And men should have a voice in it too, because they have a child that's a part of this. And
Right.
and what happens if the woman dies from taking the pill? Her mate, her partner, the father of the child, is he not left with any recourse?
Isn't that maybe possibly part of that bill?
Well, it says specifically empowers women to hold the abortion pill manufacturers accountable. Should be empowers men and women or parents to hold the pill manufacturers, distributors.
Father Frank, do you know much about this?
I know a little bit about it. Yeah, we've been promoting it as well. You know, the thing about this is it's an excellent way to deal with this widespread and largely, it's kind of like the Wild West now has broken out because these drugs are being mailed and distributed. And although it's important to note that about 84% of the abortion drugs that are being distributed actually are still being distributed from the brick and mortar abortion facility. So we're talking about, maybe 15%. Now, it's still a lot, and it shouldn't be happening at all. It shouldn't be going through the mail. But just to put it in perspective, and the other thing about it, too, to keep in mind, a lot of people are looking at the statistics and they say, oh, this is terrible. There's more abortions now than there were before the Dobbs decision. However, we're not so sure about the numbers because, the fact that these drugs are sold doesn't mean they were taken. And that's an important distinction to keep in mind because some people are stockpiling these drugs. They're being encouraged by the abortion industry to stockpile and say, just in case your state bans abortion and so forth. Other times people take them and they decide not to use them. And then, of course, there's the abortion pill reversal that is saving thousands of lives, too. But yes, this Apple Act, as it's called, is a good way to push back against this because when you read, as Bruce, as you did, what it's aiming at, you see the subtext there is that, hey, there's a lot of dangers here in these drugs that aren't being revealed. And the abortion industry, of course, is an expert at this, at hiding the deadly effects of these drugs, not only, of course, primarily on the baby, but on that mother, too. So if they know they're going to be held to account, if somebody experiences these traumatic or dangerous or even deadly effects and wasn't even told about them, they may be, a little more careful about, some transparency here and letting people know exactly what these risks are.
Because so many times in the abortion industry, they are not a lot of that same privilege of knowing what can happen in an abortion.
Yeah.
No.
And not to mention, we've had a few women on this show of recent that have either personally experienced the pill, the results of the abortion pill, or they've helped administer aid to someone that didn't realize what they were doing, and then they find out too late they've given birth to a fully formed baby, and they had been told that it was a clump of cells, and that baby is now deceased.
There was a excellent video.
What a nightmare.
I've seen. I don't know if you've seen this, Frank. I don't know who did the video, but it's a father and a mother, and she'd taken the pill and did not understand what was going to happen. And when the baby came out, and she called her partner, I don't know if it was her spouse or whatever, and saying, it's a baby. I don't know what to do with it. Yeah. It's not a piece of, whatever they're told.
Yeah.
But
tissue.
And she was, cells, she was overcome with emotion.
See, now this is one of the big differences between the chemical abortion and the surgical. Because in the case of the surgical abortion, the pieces of that baby are put in a tray next to the mother. She may be under anesthesia. Otherwise, the clinic workers, do their very best to make sure she does not see the arms, the legs, the face of that baby. But when it comes to the chemical procedures, they see it right there in their bedroom, bathroom, toilet. I mean, and when they weren't aware of how well developed that child already was, like I said, what a nightmare that is. And one of the things then that happens is therefore, if they're seeing that immediately, the denial is broken more quickly. I mean, someone can have a surgical abortion and then continue under the delusion for years, even decades, that was just a blob of tissue. Of course, you have to be completely, unaware of basic embryology, but a lot of people are. So you could go for years and years not realizing what it was that was taken out of your body. But not so with these chemical techniques. They see that baby and those baby parts, so they end up coming more quickly to programs like we have, like Rachel's Vineyard and other healing ministries, looking for healing from their abortion. So that's one of the interesting differences that we see now, is this time between the abortion and the time they seek healing and forgiveness is shortening.
Yeah. We had a lady on a few weeks ago that was in nursing school, and her mother also was a nurse and had told her, oh, it's just a blob of tissue. You can do this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when she went into nursing school, they had jars, or whatever you want to call it, of
jars with fetuses, babies,
a different development. And she looked at the one that would have been her child's age of gestation, and it broke her. She had to exit nursing school for several months.
Yeah,
I think it was maybe even over a year. I don't remember, but
and she became, and it damaged her relationship with her mother. She became very angry with her mom because her mom had lied to her.
Oh yeah.
And
why did you lie? Right.
Yeah. And her mom was trying to protect her, but she lied to her. And
why should it be so hard in the year 2026 for people to know very basic scientific facts like this? It's like, come on, the human development.
Well, you'd think they'd just look it up. You'd think they'd want to know the truth, but I guess they really don't.
Well, especially in this age where we've got the whole encyclopedic knowledge of the entire human race at our fingertips on our phones, right? I mean, this is not hard to do, right? Not hard to find out.
You've got some that don't know the truth, but all they have to do is seek it, but they won't, because
it'd make it more difficult.
It'd make it more difficult for them to make a decision. Father, it's like trying to lead someone to faith. They know in their hearts what is right, but yet they don't want to open their eyes because they don't want to change the way they live.
So many people will say, why is this such, this is a hard decision. This is a tough decision. It's like, but why is it a tough decision? And then they have to think, well, why is it a tough decision? It's a tough decision because it's your child. It's not a tough decision. If you went to the doctor and the doctor said, you need to remove this. It is a cyst. It's going to kill you. That's not a tough decision.
A tough decision, yeah.
So why is abortion a tough decision? We all know why.
Exactly.
Because it's your child, because it means a change in your lifestyle, because it means a challenge that you don't know that you can overcome. Exactly. But God designed us all to be parents, and those that he didn't design to be parents don't become parents. But he designed all of us to be parents. We all can overcome those challenges. Father Frank, we've got a break. We will be right back. We have Father Frank Pavone from Priest for Life. For Vicki Cherry, I'm Bruce Cherry. It is Pro-Life Radio on a Sunday night. We thank you for joining us. We have details coming on how you can help keep this radio ministry afloat, keep us on the air. Please listen closely. It's coming up on AM 950, FM 94.9, The Answer.
If you're pro-life, like this show, and want to support this mission, please help with your donation today. Go online to givesendgo.com/Orlando Pro-Life Radio, or make your check out to Mission Save America, Inc., and mail it to 13900, County Road 455, Unit 107-334, Claremont, Florida 34711. Pro-Life Radio is a non-profit entity and all donations are tax deductible. Thank you.
And welcome back to Pro-Life Radio on a Sunday evening. I'm Vicki Cherry, my handsome husband. Across from me.
Hello. Oh, I'm sorry. Hello.
And we have Father Frank Pavone from Priest for Life on the line with us. And we are so glad to have you today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you got a lot of stuff going on with Priest for Life. We get the newsletter. We know you guys are really in the throes of things right now. Tell us how we can help. What's going on?
Oh, well, we were founded especially with the desire to help our clergy and our churches step up to the plate on these important issues and the core issue of abortion. And so many people involved in the movement, they want to see exactly that. So we've initiated a number of new resources, clergy training packets that we could send to the churches. This is the time of year when, a lot of, like within our Catholic community, a lot of new priests are being ordained and coming out of seminary, starting their work in the parishes. So it's a good time to be reaching out to priests right from the beginning of their ministry and saying, hey, we want to help you to teach clearly on this. We have a whole books about preaching and online training courses that they can tie into. In fact, just today I was doing some planning with some of our staff about some new online videos that we're putting up. So, and we're also, some churches unfortunately close their doors to this message, strange as it is. They'll close their doors to the pro-life message. So, we always ask pastors to consider having some members of our team come in and speak to their congregation. But if they don't want to do that, we've decided to, in a very respectful, communicative, peaceful way, but nevertheless aware of our rights and determined to reach the people with the pro-life message, we've decided to start having distribution of flyers and literature on the public sidewalks right in front of the church. So it's like, if you're not going to bring the message inside the church, use our First Amendment rights and bring the message to the congregation outside the church. And that's, of course, one of the beauties of America. We were talking before about, our nation's birthday and everything. And, we celebrate our freedom to bring a message of importance to our fellow citizens. And the public sidewalks are the quintessential forum for doing that. And so we're going to say, okay, it's not a protest against the church. It's just an effort to reach the people in the church. And so that's one of our exciting new projects that people are just like, they're excited about. They're cheering it on. They say, yeah, you know what? If some pastors, they're so afraid of this issue that they don't want to address it, we don't want to give them a veto power over the right of the people to know these very basic, fundamental moral issues. So those are some of the things we're working on.
And it starts with the church. I mean,
it does.
The word says, if my people, he'll heal us if we call on him. His people, who are his people, the believers. It's not the people that are, atheist or just people that don't really believe.
But if
his
the atheists
people
want to open their hearts and come to know
Amen.
truth,
Yes.
he will bless them with that truth.
But I think one of the most troubling things to me is those people that are believers that say, I know it's a baby. I don't care. I'm going to do this anyway. God will forgive me.
I witnessed people say that, and I have to question, really, are they truly believers? Are they just saying that for argument's sake because you've challenged them on the sidewalk or in a debate, and so they're trying to win that debate? And I have to wonder if they're truly believers. But then there are believers out there that say, well, I am pro-life except in the case of rape and incest. Mm-hmm. And to me, then you're not pro-life, because you can't say you're pro-life and then put boundaries on it like that. It's not the baby's fault. Right. We had a guest on the show a few weeks ago who had been raped, went ahead, had her baby, put the baby up for adoption 36 years ago, something of that nature. Her and the child have connected. He wanted to know his roots, wanted to know where he came from, found his mom. They've connected. They have a beautiful relationship, and they talk weekly, if not daily. And it's
that is so powerful.
Yeah. But here's the thing that's even more powerful. He's now blessed her with 4 grandchildren, and a 5th one is on the way, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So
nice.
Had he been aborted, think of the lineage. Think of the number of lives that would have impacted.
That's right.
Well, we're missing a whole generation.
Oh, yeah. Several generations. 50 years worth of generations in this country.
Yeah, it's incalculable how much is lost in this process. And the whole adoption story too. I was reminded as you were talking of a young man by the name of David Scott and from Louisiana. I've gotten to know him over the years, but he's the subject of a movie called Life Mark. It really shows better than just about any other film on the topic, the beautiful reality of adoption and how love overcomes the difference in the biological origin. But Life Mark tells its true story of David being adopted and then reconnecting with his birth mother when he was a young adult. It started off as a short film that people can find on online called "I Lived on Parker Avenue." And so anyone interested in really helping people appreciate the power of adoption, check that out. "I Lived on Parker Avenue," the short original film, and then the longer film called Life Mark.
Sounds like a great future cast. Is that what you were thinking too, Bruce?
He would be, and he would be happy to. Yes,
I'm thinking that, but I'm also thinking when we get finished, we'll go look it up online and see if we can watch it on streaming.
Oh yeah, definitely.
TV.
But I would love to.
you
So
would
maybe
love
Father
it.
Frank, you could see if you could put a good word in for us and have him get a hold of us.
we
or
can
something.
connect. We can connect him with you. Yes,
That'd be great. That would be great. And of course, we'd like for you to come on with him and be a part of that show.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah,
that'd be nice. Very good. Yeah,
So-
yeah. I even know his birth mother too, and she. They've spoken out. They've spoken out at different conferences and media interviews, and that would be great to set that up.
Oh, awesome. All right. So we were talking earlier about the abortion pill and how all the abortions that are taking place that we can no longer really track effectively like we could with the going into the abortuaries and then you know the stats there. But now people can order these pills in the privacy of their own home. And it's affecting our society in ways we never thought possible. Like there's a new study out. Well, I say a new study, but the study's been out for a while. I work for Liberty Counsel now, and Liberty Counsel and Liberty Counsel Action have put out a book called Abortion in Our Water. And Father Frank, I know you're familiar with this. And
yes.
it was like pulling teeth to get this to the highest levels of government so that they would know what's going on, because you had people in departments that didn't want to know or suspected but turned a blind eye. But under this administration, thank God for Donald Trump getting in, and the tide in this country has turned. Doors are opening, and people are finding out about how the abortion pill is poisoning our society. We're looking at lower birth rates because people who haven't even taken it are getting these hormones in their system from drinking our drinking water, because this is now in our water and we can't get it out. At least not without some research.
People hearing this might first be very skeptical because they say, well, wait a minute, water is this water filtration. We don't just drink water. We drink water through our, the water systems. The water is obviously cleansed, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the fact, and this great research paper there from Liberty Counsel and our friend John Stemberger, he and I have been at many pro-life leaders and conservative leaders gatherings where John has presented this paper. And of course, it's the website too, right, Bruce? So I think it's abortioninourwater.org.
.org, yes.
People can get it.
John has pointed out, and the report points out a very simple fact. Yes, of course, there's water filtration and cleansing systems that are, protecting us all every day.
Mm-hmm.
But they were not built with the idea that they would have to purify the water from human remains, because why would there be human remains in the water in the first place? So these filtration systems were not built for this. This new reality, this barbaric reality, that aborted babies are now literally being flushed down the toilet. Why? Because of these chemical at-home abortions, and they're coming out of the toilet. So it's a real issue. It deserves the people's attention, and it deserves us to be doing two things. One, of course, bring this to the attention of government officials who can take some protective measures. But the biggest protective measure, let's stop the free flow of these abortion drugs in the first place.
Absolutely. And one of the key components, mifepristone,
yes,
it stays in the water. They haven't figured out a way to get it out of the water. So that's something we'll talk more about that in just a bit. We're up against another break. We've got Father Frank Pavone of Priest for Life with us. It's Pro-Life Radio. It's a Sunday night, and we thank you for making time to join us. We'll be right back. AM 950, FM 94.9, The Answer.
If you're pro-life, like this show, and want to support this mission, please help with your donation today. Go online to givesendgo.com/Orlando Pro-Life Radio, or make your check out to Mission Save America, Inc., and mail it to 13900, County Road 455, Unit 107-334, Claremont, Florida 34711. Pro-Life Radio is a non-profit entity, and all donations are tax-deductible. Thank you.
And welcome back. It is Pro-Life Radio on a Sunday night, and I hope we didn't terrify you with that last segment, but if we did, there's a reason to be concerned. We've got Father Frank Pavone on with us from Priest for Life. Vicky Cherry's across from me. I'm Bruce Cherry. And we were talking about abortion in our water, the abortion pill that has found its way into our drinking water. And so, yeah.
The babies.
Well, yeah, it's killing the babies, but it's also, it's something we've got to think about. Whether you're pro-life or pro-choice, I'm pretty sure everybody is let's have clean drinking water.
There you go. That's right.
And so, because of this pill, we now have mifepristone, which is a hormone or a synthetic hormone that they can't seem to figure out what the half-life of it is in our water, but it's there.
Mm-hmm.
They know it's there.
Powerful. It's a very powerful drug, powerful synthetic steroid that also, what it does, it literally starves the baby. This mifepristone, that's its working mechanism. It blocks progesterone. But Bruce and Vicky, I want to bring up a biblical dimension of this. We see now like this weird. I mean, again, I'm sure for many people who are hearing this for the first time, think, wow, this is an interesting twist. Never thought about abortion in the context of clean drinking water. But there's the famous verse in Deuteronomy, I set before you life and death, blessings and curses, choose life. And because it's one of the key verses for the pro-life movement. Mm-hmm. And I always point out, notice how the Lord puts it. I set before you life and death, blessings and curses. The blessings attached to choosing life. The curses attached to choosing death. So while we have the sometimes terrifying freedom to go either way, the path of life or the path of death, we don't get to choose where it leads. We don't, and the lie of the basic pro-choice lie is that you can choose death and blessing. That's the false promise of abortion. I'm going to choose death, but that's going to bring me freedom and health and my career and money and all this and that. Okay. No, the choice is choose life and it's going to lead to blessings. Yeah. Choose death, it's going to lead to curses. You don't get to choose the consequences. You get to choose the path. And how does that have to do with this? Well, because you choose the evil path of abortion in one way or another, and all sorts of bad things are going to follow on that. Unexpected, strange, bad things. And the abortion in our water is yet another example of that.
We're looking at lower rates of sterility. So we're looking at men now who are sterile, young men who are sterile, who can't reproduce, and they don't know why. And the thought is the mifepristone in the water, the fetal remains that are in the water, that's playing a role in it. That's something that they're looking at. And then you're looking at higher rates of sterility for women. Of course, women that have abortions have a higher rate of sterility anyway. So, yeah, we've got to stop this. We're gonna get down the road at a certain point where the human race is no longer going to be able to procreate.
That's right.
That's
it's ultimately because we're choosing that ultimately, right? Yeah. It's like the no to children takes on a lot of different forms.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Father Frank, you are traveling all over the place. You're doing great work with Priests for Life. What else is going on? What's on the horizon? What do we need to be looking for? And how can everybody get in touch and donate to Priests for Life?
Well, thank you for mentioning that. Our main website is Pro-Life Central, and we call it that because we are at the center of a lot of different ministries, a lot of diverse ministries, and people can check out more details at prolifecentral.org, including, of course, the donation, because we rely on people like we are talking to right now. We don't get the big government grants or gigantic contributions from foundations and whatnot. We rely on the good people, just like you guys do for Pro-Life Radio. Mm-hmm. So the donation site is Pro-Life Gift, prolifegift.org, and the people can connect with me on social media at FR Frank Pavone on all the major platforms. It's a great way for us all to stay connected and share inspiration and find like-minded people. So it's at FR Frank Pavone. But on the horizon, of course, we are right now very much in the midst of all these primaries for the 2026 election. And that's one of the big areas of our activity, as you know. In fact, we just launched officially a C4 organization. C4s are lobbying groups, and they can also do some direct political work. And so we've launched a C4 called Pro-Life Vote, and that's the website for that, prolifevote.com. I just want to encourage people, get involved in any way you can with these elections. And I'm sure so many of our listeners are already involved in the sense of voting themselves, helping other people to get to the polls, educating their fellow citizens about the candidates. But let's do more because, so many of us voted enthusiastically in 2024. So many, like you were saying at the beginning of the program, now this is a battle between good and evil. And many voters came to that conclusion in 2024 more than ever before as they saw the moral issues that were at stake. And my message is, if we voted that way in 2024, it's the same motivation that needs to get us out in 26, even though it's not a presidential election year. We elected a president for 4 years, not for 2, and we got to give him a Congress that'll be able to continue on the path that we all decided we should be on back 2 years ago. And secondly, the stakes are just as high. I mean, this is good versus evil. The abortion battle being a central primary one, but so many other things, too, related to our freedoms, our families, the good of our nation, our security, so many issues that we're all aware of. So get involved. ProLifeVote.com will give everyone a good dose of information, resources. And also, we do online Zoom calls every month, and people could sign up for them at that website, where we just have a 45 minutes or an hour live conversation with people from across the country who are trying to make a difference in their local community with the elections. We give them good talking points, like on the last one that we just had. Janet and I, Janet's our executive director, we spoke about what we learned in a meeting that we were at not too long ago with very high government officials. The Speaker of the House was there, Congressman Jim Jordan, some of the real heroes of the conservative political movement. And, we pass along on these Zoom calls some of the strategic insights, some of the talking points, some of the things people can do. So that would be my urging, a big item on the horizon, prolifevote.com. And we can all make a difference.
I'm looking at the website right now, and it is vital that this midterm come out the right way. Because if it doesn't, everything that we've gained, everything that President Trump has done, they're going to seek to stop it cold
and
turn it around. And we can't let that happen. We just can't let it happen. It makes no sense to me for us not to get out and support getting the right people back in office and making sure that the midterms are effective for keeping President Trump effective. It makes no sense to get him in office and then let him become a lame duck.
Right.
God calls us to do what we can do. We're not supposed to just sit around. We need to have feet and hands and do what is asked. But ultimately, he is in control. And that's how we can rest. We can know that when we've done what we are called to do and we've been purposed to do for such a time as this, then we can rest.
But God also will leave us to our own devices. If we start slacking off and we become not faith and we
can't.
lack our faith,
we can't.
He will, because I think he gave us 4 years of Joe Biden so we could see how bad things could get. I think that's exactly why that happened.
And the contrast is important. People win elections by not just saying how good they are and how good their policies are, but by making a very vivid contrast with the opponent. And those 4 years did give us a big contrast. I think that was one of the reasons for the 2024 victory. And that contrast is still very much alive. I mean, that's America has a clear choice here. And the more that we can, in our individual conversations, in our broadcasts like this, in our newsletters, on our websites and so forth, create that contrast for people, the choice is going to become easier and easier to make.
Absolutely.
And it's all what that verse you spoke about a little bit ago is so true. He's given us a choice.
Yeah.
Yes.
God blesses us with free will.
Sometimes I wish not, but it's like I have a different idea than that next person might, and it's like I don't want their free will to mess up my free will.
Yeah. But you know what?
Right.
God doesn't always give us what we want, but He gives us what we need. So,
He does.
But we trust our God.
We do
He's
need
an awesome
we
God.
do need to be diligent and be good stewards of this blessing, and make sure that we get out and vote. And pastors, if there are any pastors listening tonight, talk to your flock. Talk to them. Don't be afraid. Talk to them. They've got to get out and vote. They've got to know what's at stake in the midterm, because we are a stone's throw away from this country being like Canada, where pastors are no longer able to address moral, biblical truth from the pulpit.
I know.
And that's what's happening in Canada. They're going to jail for it. It's called hate speech. And it's happening in England.
It's terrible.
When Father Frank was talking about being outside the churches, I know Amendment 4. That's what we were having to do to them. They didn't want to hear it.
Well, if we're not careful, being outside the church will be like
Against
in
the law.
England being on a street praying and getting locked up for it.
Yes.
So we've got to be diligent. Father Frank, thank you so much for joining us. We have run out of time, and we'll have to get you back here really soon.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure. God bless.
Hey, safe travels, because I know you're going to be on the road again, flying somewhere. And just safe travels, and thank you for what you're doing. And you are always in our prayers.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. Pro-Life Radio on a Sunday night, for my wife, Vicki Cherry, for Father Frank, for our producer, Dave DeRica, in the studio next door, and for all of you listening. Thank you. God bless. We'll see you again next week.
Good night.
Pro-Life Radio on AM 950, FM 94.9, The Answer.
If you're pro-life, like this show, and want to support this mission, please help with your donation today. Go online to givesendgo.com/Orlando Pro-Life Radio, or make your check out to Mission Save America, Inc., and mail it to 13900, County Road 455, Unit 107-334, Claremont, Florida 34711. Pro-Life Radio is a non-profit entity and all donations are tax deductible. Thank you.
You've been listening to Pro-Life Radio, a strong voice for the unborn in Florida, with Vicki and Bruce Cherry. Connect with Vicki and Bruce online at proliferadio.com and join us again next week at this very same time for Pro-Life Radio. Pro-Life Radio is a pre-recorded show.